Hello there. It's been a while, I know. A lot of things happening, and let's get straight to the point. In this episode, I want to talk to you about war, about books that talk about war. And the reason why I want to do that is obvious. We are living in very complicated times, in times of a lot of conflict, in times where there are conflicts exploding in various areas in the planet. And according to my perception of the situation, I might be wrong, time will tell, but according to my perception of the situation, we are going to have more conflicts coming, and the tendency is that they're going to escalate. And the reasons for that are for another topic, another season maybe. Here, I just want to recommend to you books on war, classic ones, of course, because nowadays you have a bunch of books being produced. I want to recommend you the classic ones, the ones to start with, the beginning, so to say, where you can base yourself from. And from there, you can go on and search for more material, okay? That's basically it. I think it will help you understanding how wars work, how wars are initiated, how wars are ended, what happens when side A is winning, what happens when side A is losing, what happens with the narratives, what matters in terms of war for winning, what matters in terms of war for losing, what you need to know about your enemy that is important, how to deal with different types of enemies, and so much more. So let's get straight to the point. If you're new here, this is a channel where we work on seasons. Every season has a different topic, and every season I make thousands of videos, many videos about that topic, okay? And in this season, we are talking about books, and we have discussed books about French literature, German literature, Italian literature, books on this, books on that, so many episodes, check it out. And today we're going to talk about books on wars. We are going to start, of course, with the great Greek classic, Thucydides, and I think you should read his history of the Peloponnesian War. It's a big book, it's a long one, very detailed. Expect to have a dense reading because he tries to be very accurate. He tries to be very, how can I say, detailing in his way of presenting what happened. And at least I consider this to be one of those books that shows you how you are supposed to do history, if you want to do history. Then you have Luciano de Samosata, but he didn't write about any specific big war, so I'm not going to recommend him to you. But Thucydides, he wrote about the history of the Peloponnesian War. And this history of the Peloponnesian War will bring you lots of details about how that war was conducted from the very beginning to the end. And I think it's absolutely worth reading it. The second book I want to recommend you is a second classic, also worldwide known, and I think you should definitely check it out. It is not so long and detailed, but it is very theoretical and it's very accurate in theory. It's almost abstract. No, it doesn't go directly to practical situations, but trust me, it's fundamental, and every major war should be fought taking into account the words of these men. And it's, of course, The Art of War from Sun Tzu. I guess Sun Tzu needs no presentations. He has become like a very popular read in recent times. Unfortunately for the wrong reasons and unfortunately with bad purposes, but he has become a mandatory read in recent times. And I think you should definitely check out this book. As I said, it's not a big one, but it's a very dense one with very good theory and very good explanations on how war works, how war is conducted, and all the strategical part of it, how to think, to proceed, to attack, to defend, what you need to know, and so on. Next book I want to recommend you has the same title, but now from the Italian master, Niccolo Machiavelli. And Niccolo Machiavelli also wrote a book, not so famous as The Prince, unfortunately, or even as other books that he wrote, like Prima Decca di Tito Livio and so on. But he wrote a book called The Art of War. And for some reason that I don't know, this book hasn't received as much attention as it should. And trust me, the reason why it hasn't received as much attention as it should, it's not because it's a bad book, it's not because it's a poor book, it's not because it's a book that lacks quality or whatever. No, no, it is actually a really good one. And Machiavelli, in his Italian way, in his Florentine way, according to the time he was living in, will explain to you the same things that I have been telling you the other authors explain. How wars are fought, how wars are won, how wars are lost, how to proceed, when to proceed. Again, like in The Prince, you are going to see that things like virtù and fortuna count and play an important role in war. And I couldn't recommend it more. I think you will learn a lot from Machiavelli's lessons on war. Last but not least, the considered nowadays by many people and people that I respect and people that understand a lot about the subject, the Bible on war and on everything that concerns war. It's probably the most complete book I have read on the topic. Still a bit theoretic, even though talking about practical terms, but it's like a theory on war. It's like a big collection of thoughts on how wars are started, conducted, won, lost, and so on. And it's very rich in details, and it's absolutely worth reading. If you want to understand the recent wars in our world, and when I'm talking about recent, I'm talking about like 19th century until now, until the wars that are being fought now, you need to read Karl von Clausewitz's book on war. I guess I have nothing else to add about his book. As I said, it is probably the most complete one that I have ever read. It is extremely rich in details. It gives you practical examples. It brings you to the reality of actual wars that actually happened, and he explains to you how this war was lost, how this movement was dangerous or precipitated, and why this battle was lost in this war, and what should this regiment, this battalion, this whatever division should have done, and so on. And it contains also some philosophical reflections on war, some very profound and deep thoughts, generic in terms of concept, so to say, on what war means, on what war signifies to a society, to the one who is winning, to the one who is losing, to the leaders, to the politicians, to the military people, and so on. And I think it's absolutely indispensable. If you manage to read these 4 books that I just recommended to you from different authors, from different nationalities, from different times in history, you are going to have a very, very good base to start your studies. You are going to have solid, quality information that can build, that can prepare the terrain for whatever else you are planning to add in terms of knowledge, in terms of reading, in terms of content about war. I strongly encourage you to start with these 4 ones. If you want, you can even start in the order that I just presented them to you. And after that, I'm sure you are going to be ready to move on and to read much more about war and understand how it works, how it is extremely related to politics. And, well, I don't want to enter much in details because my objective here is not to discuss what I think about war theory and so on, but just to recommend you books and give you little explanations on why they are good, useful, and why you should read them. And I think I managed to do this in this video when it comes to the topic war. Start by these 4 books. And of course, move on from there because they are just the very beginning. They are just the basics that you need. There is much more to discover after you finish these 4 books. That's pretty much it. See you soon. Take care.